Won't you let me? Won't you help me?
Join us all day long so that all things can be heard. Not the ones that you know of, but the ones that our hearts know. That is why we're here. We're loving on each other, we're giving space and time to each other, and I encourage you to continue doing that once we go back and fight even harder. This is just fuel for the fight. This is fuel for the fight.
Muy buenas tardes. Nosotros somos la familia Flores, que mató la policía en Los Ángeles, California, noviembre 19 del 2019. La policía sabía que Alex sufría una crisis mental y tuvieron 15 minutos para brindarle ayuda, pero no lo hicieron. Steven Ruiz, el último policía, llegó el último primero en disparar, sabiendo que su compañero estaba listo para usar el taser, no le dio chance. La policía reclamó que Alex atacó, pero nuestro video enseña lo contrario. Nos informaron de su cuerpo, sino hasta el cuarto día. No nos cansaremos de luchar hasta que se haga justicia. Gracias.
I'm going to translate for the family. Hello, everyone. We are the parents of Alex Flores, who was killed by LAPD on November 19, 2019. LAPD knew that Alex was suffering a mental crisis. They had 15 minutes to render help, but they did not. Steven Ruiz was the last cop to arrive and was the first one to shoot, knowing that his partner was ready to use his taser, but did not give him the chance. They claim that Alex targeted the cops, but our video shows the contrary. They did not inform us about his body until the 4th day. We will not give up until we get justice for Alex Flores. Say his name. Alex Flores. Say his name. Alex Flores. Thank you.
Hello, we are the family of Jesse Cedillo Jr. Just 2 weeks after his 20th birthday on March 14th, 2020, my brother was killed and shot at 15 times by Pueblo, Colorado Sheriff Jeffrey Alfonso. Jesse was told to come out from hiding with his hands up. He did exactly what he was instructed to do by the officer. He came out with his hands up, no weapon. The second he came out with his hands up, the officer started shooting him. My brother put himself into a ball on the ground, and the officer continued to shoot his lifeless body that was already on the ground. He was left to die for over 9 hours, and AMR was sent away from his care. We watched on social media, not even knowing it was him, for 7 hours. Till this day, they have planted evidence that they could never prove. They have framed him for things he never did. What the officer didn't know was a neighbor had recorded the whole thing. When you kill an innocent person, that's very bad. So they did everything they could just to hide the horrendous actions and make him out to be something he was not. We are asking for justice for Jesse and all terrorized by the biggest gang in the United States of America. We deserve a voice in this life, and we will not stand anymore being tormented by these genocide and slavery patrols. They are not peace officers. They are not here to serve and protect. They're here to do exactly what they planned out to do hundreds of years ago, just like they did to our ancestors. We will not stay silent. We have the power. Viva la raza! Justice for Jesse!
Justice for Jesse! Stop, kill, and arrest Deputy Alfonso! Justice for Jesse! Say his name! Jesse Cedillo! Say his name! Jesse Cedillo!
Hello everybody, I'm the grandmother of Christopher Okamoto, who was murdered in Bakersfield, California on August the 19th, 2018. I spoke to my grandson at 11:02 p.m. and at 11:29 he was dead. The call was for he was making too much noise. So my grandson lost his life because he was making too much noise. They shot him 8 times, 6 of them were fatal. He was an avid skateboarder, he was an amateur boxer, he wasn't a thug. They shot him through the screen door and then kind of laughed about it as they went downstairs to get a crowbar. I'm gonna fight for justice for my son, my grandson, probably the rest of my life, because it doesn't seem we're not getting anywhere. You know, Bakersfield, California is the #1 city in the whole United States per capita that kills civilians in the whole United States, that little tiny city. They're white supremacists, blacks are white supremacists. The sheriff that was there, the chief that was there retired, and he is now the head prosecutor for the district attorney there. So we don't, up there, they don't have a chance. But hopefully today and days after this, if we fight like shit, then we're gonna get somewhere. Fuck the police! Fuck the police in the whole United States. You're all criminals and you're corrupt as hell.
That's right, yeah.
Right. Say his name.
Families, when you're done, please remember to go back to the tent so that you could video your story. Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Bernice Roundtree. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. My son is Charles Roundtree, and he was killed in San Antonio, Texas by SAPD. He was at a friend's house, hanging out with his friends. Police officer comes to the door. He does it. He knocks on one door, opens the other. As he opens the other door, he has his gun up, saying, "What's up?" Like anybody else, you're gonna ask, like, who is this? His friend stands up to check who it is, and he just immediately started to fire into the house. Burglar bars on the door, couldn't even get in, but he feared for his life, so he says. So he shoots my son, shoots the boy, his friend, in the butt. He shoots my son 1 time in the chest. My son collapsed in the hallway while his friend is trying to save his life, while the police is outside. Not once did they call EMS, none of it. So my son died in the hallway fighting for his life while these police is outside pretending to be afraid. I'm gonna fight. My son had brothers and sisters, and they're gonna, as long as they live and as long as I live, I'm gonna be out here fighting. These police, they shouldn't be able to get away with killing these people and killing these kids. Like, they should have the same consequences as everybody else, because if I shot him, I would be under the jail right now. I would probably be in an electric chair right now, but yet I'm not. Thank y'all for listening to me. Justice for Charles Roundtree. Say his name. Charles Roundtree. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Mariko Finko. I'm the aunt of Fermin Vincent Valenzuela Jr. On July 2nd, 2016, my nephew was choked to death by 3 Anaheim, California officers, Daniel Woojin June and Sergeant Daniel Gonzalez. My nephew didn't commit a crime when the police approached him. There was no reason to use force and escalated to legal force. No one's life was in danger. My nephew crossed a busy street to the laundromat at the 7-Eleven parking lot. Both officers tased, kicked, and choked my nephew 2 more times. Sergeant Daniel Gonzalez, he's the one that supervised. You can see right here that he was holding one of my nephew's arms. He gave instructions to these officers to use this deadly carotid chokehold. My nephew was wheezing and having a hard time breathing. Sergeant Gonzalez took a hold of my nephew's left arm and choked him to death. After 5 days of the trial, the juror returned with a verdict, and the cops were held accountable for the murder. My nephew's children were awarded $13.2 million, and now the city of Anaheim is appealing the murder. Please say my nephew's name, Fermin Vincent Valenzuela. Fermin Vincent Valenzuela. I also campaigned a chokehold, AB 1196. It was passed and came into law in January in honor of my nephew, Fermin Vincent Valenzuela. I'm 5 years into this fight, and I will not stop. I will continue to say his name and uplift his spirit in love. Thank you.
My name is Dawn Wilson. This is my 19-year-old daughter, Sarah Wilson. She died during a traffic stop in Chesapeake, Virginia on July 25th, 2018. She was cuffed behind her back, and the narrative is that she committed suicide with Judge Torres intraorally. And that's how they closed the case. There's been no other investigation by any other organization. This is it. It was suicide. I've got no information because they deemed it suicide. I really don't know what else to say. We're being run by liars and corrupt family members. Lineage is running back to when people first came to this continent.
That's right.
And it's been that way.
That's
we just
right.
weren't aware. All I can do is pray for all of us and continue to fight. Say her name. Sarah Wilson.
Sarah Wilson.
Sarah Wilson.
Sarah Wilson.
Thank you guys. I love you all.
We love you, God.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anne Marie Grant. My brother Thomas Purdy was 38 years old when he was hogtied and asphyxiated by Reno Police and Washoe County Sheriff's Office. He had a mental health crisis. On the casino floor, he asked for help. He was hogtied for 40 minutes. And then at the jail, all caught on video, he begged for his life, told him he couldn't breathe, needed an ambulance. They didn't provide an ambulance. Instead, they put him face down and asphyxiated him to death. It's time for law enforcement to acknowledge that prone restraint kills people, that tasers kill people, that unnecessary chases kill people, innocent...
Hello. Say his name, Thomas Purdy. Thomas Purdy.
Thank you. My brother was Winston Smith, who was killed by the U.S. Marshals in Minneapolis, Uptown, June 3rd. He was sitting in his passenger seat. They rolled up on him, no uniforms, unmarked cars. They got out and shot him in the back of his head with an assault rifle. My brother was a good father of 3, a good son, and a good brother. He did videos, he did music, and they shot him in broad daylight and trying to cover it up. Say his name, Justice for Winston Smith. Justice for Winston Smith. This is my mom right here. I'll let her say a little bit.
Hi, I'm the mother of Winston Smith. My name is Tawana, and I wanted to say I would like for the government to allow the BCA to open up the case on my son, that they are coming up right in front of our eyes. Not only that they killed him, they took off his clothes and they laid him right there with just boxing shorts on, and then had the nerve to say they trying to get him CPR after you assassinated him and did what you did to him.
That ain't right. Okay. Yeah, you said something?
All right. Yeah, so I'll try to make this real quick because I think we run up on time. So just like they said, you know, what happened with Winston on June 3rd is he was ambushed at the top of a parking ramp in the middle of the daylight. They knew they didn't have cameras, or at least they saying they didn't have cameras. They tried to do this so nobody else would see it because they seen what happened with George Floyd, and they seen what happens when we see what they do when they're being viewed. So I just want to put that out there. They did this in secret. They're trying to cover everything up, but we ain't letting this go. I'm not asking questions. I'm gonna make them bring out this information. Y'all need to do the same. Love y'all. Peace.
Mic check.
Mic check.
So we've been fighting for Tyrone West, that was my brother, for over 422 weeks, 2,954 days, non-stop. And not only did we fight for my big brother Tyrone West, we fight for all the victims of police brutality. Because we know this is a worldwide thing. They need to stop killing us. But until we reopen these damn cases, they're gonna keep on killing us non-stop. My brother Tyrone West, and these are some of the killers, turn it around. These are some of the killers. These are 11 maniacs out of the 17 that brutally beat, stomped, pepper sprayed, kicked, tased, mazed one and all man for giving a young lady a ride. He died giving a young lady a ride. And then, just like George Floyd had somebody sitting on his neck, David Keller Lewis from Morgan State University, a 320-pound man, sat on my brother's neck until he was dead. Over 18 minutes of beating one unarmed man. Nobody could have survived that. And we're fighting David Fowler, who lied for the medical examiner's office to get them off like he threw himself under the bus at George Floyd. We will not stop, we can't stop till killer cops are in cell blocks. We more than hashtags and body bags. We more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and button on t-shirt. Our lives matter. Reopen the cases. Too many names, too many faces. Gives you no choice but to reopen these damn cases. ASAP. Mic check.
Africa will never fucking stop. Will never fucking stop. Long live Liberia. Long live Africa.
My name's Laura Serna. I came from Bakersfield, California because the fucking cowards at our Bakersfield Police Department came out and murdered my father, who was outside his house. He was suffering from dementia. A neighbor saw him wave something around, said it was a hand revolver, described it. Police came out and shot him dead. They didn't investigate. They didn't look what's in his hand. They shot him dead. He had no gun. He had a crucifix in his hand. And I'm here to say we will not let our loved ones die in vain. We are still here. We need to advocate for ourselves. We need services. We need to be recognized as victims, as murdered, because my father was murdered. This was brought to my life to make this crazy change here, and you know what? I'm gonna fight them. But let's all be together here, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here with everyone. Thank you. Say his name, Francisco Serna.
Yes. Mic check. May 16th, my brother Timothy Fleming was murdered by 2 Baltimore City police officers. So what I'm going to say is fuck Merle Mosby, which is the state's attorney, Brandon Scott, which is the mayor, Michael Harrison, which is the police commissioner, Gaston Melendez, Jason Zimmerman, and all the fucking killer cops out there. Fuck all of y'all. I'm going to keep fighting for my brother Timothy Fleming until I get justice. I have not received an autopsy report, an investigative report, or none of that from the state of Maryland as of yet. Like I said, he was murdered May 16th. Here we are in August. Killer cops belong to cell block. I'm going to say it again. Fuck Marilyn Mosby. Fuck Scott, Brandon Scott, Michael Harrison, Gaston Melendez, and Jason Zimmerman. And all the fucking killer cops, they belong to cell blocks. Killer cops belong to cell blocks. Say his name, Timothy Fleming. Mic check.
Hi, my name's Christina Page. I'm from Colorado. On September 29th of 2019, my 20-year-old son, David Jackson Page, was killed in Monument, Colorado, after Corporal Robert Stewart swatted him. I'm here today to demand that my son's case is reopened and that Officer Stewart is investigated for the murder of David Page. Thank you.
Thank you.
Say his name.
Say his name.
Say his name. David Page.
I am the mom of Eric Rivera. My son was 20 years old when he was murdered by 2 very negligent and incompetent LAPD officers on June 6, 2017. They approached my son while he was walking down the street. They jumped out their vehicle in such a hasty manner, the driver, Officer Daniel Ramirez, failed to put the patrol car in park. So there was an out-of-control car. They shot my son within 1 second of jumping out. 11 shots, 7 of them killed him. Well, 7 shots hit him, and a headshot is what killed him instantly. They also ran him over with their patrol car because they failed to put it in park. The driver tried to jump back in and step on the brake, Daniel Ramirez, and instead of stepping on the brake, he stepped on the gas and caused the car to run over my son. They left him there for 12 hours, 3 hours uncovered for everybody to see. It gave him excessive burn marks on the chest, and these officers are still out there working. So I'm here to stand in solidarity with everyone and hold these officers accountable, because if we don't do it, then they're gonna keep doing this, and we need to make sure we put a stop to it. Thank you all so much. I love y'all.
Say his name.
Say his name.
Hi, I'm Debbie Novak. I'm here from Spokane, Washington. This is my husband, Gary Creel. And our son, David Novak, was murdered by the Spokane City Police Department on January 7th, 2019. My story is much the same as a lot of your stories. David was unarmed. He had committed no crime. He was shot in the back by this police officer. It's so painful. It's just so painful. They did not release information to us for 9 months on our son's death, and they still have not released all the information. They have barred us, physically barred us from press releases. But I want to thank Mass Action and all of you for putting this together and giving us a platform to be in solidarity and to see what we can do to make change, because there needs to be change made.
Yes.
But we love David very much and we miss him very much. Say his name, David Novak. David Novak. David Novak.
Hello, my name is Ingrid Smyrna, and this is my husband, Andrew Smyrna. Our son, Andrew Jr. Smyrna, was killed on January 23rd, 2020. He was on his way home driving a rental car, saw an unmarked car following him. He decided to turn off and go park in a side street. When he looked, he trying to back out to leave. A Georgia State Trooper officer comes down the street, no siren, nothing. He runs up, hit my son's car, jump out of his car, leave it in drive, and then shot 7 to 9 bullets into my son's car, killing my son with 1 bullet to his abdomen. He claimed that he feared for his life, that he thought my son was going to run him over when he saw my son was turning left to leave. And the district attorney did not charge the officer because she said it's due to policy and procedure. This is the script that all police officers use to get off when they say they fear for their life, because it aligns with the police policy and procedure. Now, when the GBI report came out, the GBI report says my son was never driving a stolen car, was never reported stolen. They had nothing listed in the database that my son's car was stolen. And she refused to see that this officer used excessive force on my son. They left my son to bleed out in the street and die. Say his name.
Say his name. Say his name. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, turn it down. If we don't get it, turn it down. If we don't get it, turn it down.
Hi, my name is Rahim. I am the mother of Osama Rahim. We're from Boston. My son Osama was assassinated, literally, murdered by the Boston police and the FBI on June 2nd, 2015. And we're still fighting to get his case never even got to the court. The DA just threw it out and said they found no probable cause and the police were in the right for killing him. They surrounded him that morning in the parking lot as he was on his way to work, 7 a.m. in the morning. 6 undercover guys jumped out of the car, surrounded him with guns, and later, after they killed him, shot him 3 times, they said all we wanted to do was talk with him. Yet moments later, he was dead on the ground. He was assassinated. And they drummed up a plot that he was part of some kind of a terrorist plot. He was not. He was a hard-working 26-year-old man who was hoping to become a journalist and hoping to become a criminologist. And he was a good guy. Say his name, Osama Rahim.
Osama Rahim.
Osama Rahim.
Osama Rahim.
Osama Rahim. Thank you.
Osama Rahim. My cousin, that's
Hi, first off, we're dealing with a very heavy topic, so I do just want to take like a quick moment of silence just to remember all of our loved ones. My name is Samantha Felix, and I am the older sister of Matthew Felix, who was murdered February 25th of 2020 by Nassau PD, who had no jurisdiction in Queens. They claimed that he was in a stolen car, but you know how that goes. So they surveyed our house. When my brother came home, they watched him go into his house. And from there, he went into his vehicle. They pursued him in unmarked vehicles for 5 blocks, and when he came to a stop at a busy intersection, they shot up his car, and he was dead on the scene. And since then, they have closed the investigation. Obviously, they're not pressing charges. They claim that one, he was trying to reverse and hit the officers. But then they claim that he was trying to drive forward and hit the officers. And then they claim that he was reaching. So which one is it? Attorney General Tish James has bigger fish to fry, and she chose not to indict these officers. But I'm here today because I want the case to be reopened.
Yes.
My brother was 19 years old, and he was going to celebrate his 20th birthday the next week. Justice for Matthew Felix. Say his name.
Matthew Felix.
Justice for Matthew Felix.
Justice for Matthew Felix. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for coming to D.C. Welcome to the DMV. Make sure you guys stay hydrated. Again, I'm Marion Gray Hopkins. I am the mother and now the voice of my son, Gary Hopkins Jr., who was murdered November 27th, 1999 in Prince George's County, Maryland, after attending a dance at a local fire station. Being the peacemaker that night, breaking up an altercation, he was not allowed to exit the fire station in the vehicle where he was sitting on the ledge, making sure everybody was cool. Police officer comes up, gun drawn, puts the gun to Gary's head, pulls him off of the car when a second officer made one fatal gunshot wound to Gary's chest, killing him. Just like many of you and most of you out here, there was no accountability. There was an indictment. However, the police officer was found not guilty by a judge on all charges. So my fight continues for everyone else because my fight for Gary, unfortunately, legally has ended. But our fight together has not stopped, and I stand with all of you. Thank you.
Gary Hopkins.
Say his name.
Gary Hopkins.
Say his name.
Gary Hopkins.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to be here in Washington, D.C. I'm representing Raymond Scott. He was murdered by Cobb County Police February 3rd, 2003, but all this you see right here started in 1997. That's when they tried to kill him. Dog chain, black eye. This picture right here, the nurse said, take it with you, you're gonna need it one day. All I'm saying is, I'm gonna get justice for Raymond Scott. Yeah. And I'm gonna have my boots on the ground. Let's go. Boots on the ground. Come on, y'all. Have a good one. I see you over there, Dre.
No justice! No peace!
Hi, my name is Cynthia Green. I'm from Cocoa, Florida. My son, Sincere Pierce, and his best friend, A.J. Crooms, were shot dead by the Brevard County Sheriff Department. My son left home at 10:31 a.m. 10:33 a.m., my son was dead. I witnessed it. They have threatened me. They have surrounded my house 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. For what? I did nothing to nobody. I did nothing. I want justice for my child, and I want justice for his best friend. And I'm not gonna stop. Take the breath away from me, because I'm not stopping. I say no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. Thank you.
Love you. Got your back. Can we say their names? AJ Cruz. AJ Cruz. AJ Cruz. Cynthia Green. Power. Power.